Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Estonian Football Podcast. I'm delighted today to be joined by Bence, who is part of Luxembourg Footy. We're going to be talking about FC Differdange versus Levadia in the upcoming Conference League qualifying game. How are you doing today? Thanks for coming on.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for the invitation. I'm doing great and really looking forward to the game. So yeah, thanks for all, and let's see what it brings then.
I suppose the first question I have to ask is who are Differdange?
All right, yeah. So I think the best place to start with is obviously they're the defending or reigning Luxembourgish champions. Uh, they've actually only won two league titles in their history, but it happened in the past 2 years, so they have their momentum going. But they've never ever made it to the European stage, and I think this is the closest they will get for a while. Especially if they don't manage to win the title again next season. We've heard the sporting director and several members of the staff and board say that they would much rather prefer going 2 rounds in Europe rather than winning the league title. And I think that says a lot in the Luxembourgish landscape. It's a semi-professional team with part-time footballers in several instances. So that really changes the dynamics. And it's not all about the silverware when the club's existence and financial stability is on the line. So that adds a different dynamic and an extra sort of pressure probably for the manager to deliver as well, and for the players because they know that it's not just about the reputation and about the I don't know, the gloomy the Conference League and all the fame that comes with that, but there's actual jeopardy if they don't make it.
I'll kind of touch on that with Estonian clubs, for example, there's always kind of an expectation that at least one of them would get into the group stage of at least one of the competitions. How is that in Luxembourg?
I think, yeah, since the emergence of the Conference League, it's pretty much the same because you see that you have to win, I think, two ties out of four, right, in order to get into one of those group stages. So in practice, it doesn't usually happen very easily. But on paper, when you look at the draw, when you look at the possible opponents, it's reasonable to expect at least the champions to get into one of the group stages or, well, league phase or whatever it's become now. But you get the point. So yeah, I would say it's a similar landscape, and it's within Differdange's grasp now. I've seen some simulations and coefficients, and most of the predictions do say that Differdange should be one of the teams gaining those spots. So they are not really the underdogs now. They can expect it from themselves as well to turn up and actually get there once. I'm a bit more cautious about these predictions, but it's nice to see, and it looks like it is a realistic expectation to have Differdange in there finally.
I say for me, especially like this kind of stage of these European competitions, I find that most of the teams going against each other are quite evenly matched. So it is hard to predict, which is why I like talking to people who know more about the teams. How did you find the game with TNS?
Uh, it was great to watch. Yeah, clean sheets home and away. A pair of 1-0 wins, but it was not boring at all, and it was not just this dense physical game. FCD did try to make a bit more creative, and they were quite attacking. Even when they were ahead on aggregate, they tried to create even more chances to stretch the defensive line of the New Saints, and they managed to do it quite a few times. So that was good to see. That was impressive, especially after the first round in the Champions League when they went out against Kosovo's Drita. That was disappointing. That was grim. New manager. It looked like the players haven't quite gelled, and the system was quite new for everyone. But the TNS game offered a lot of improvement. So now the players also got their motivational boost. I think that they can get out there, score a couple goals, and get what's needed over the line. Because it's always been a theme of Differdange that they did quite well locally, but like domestically. But whenever they went out on the international stage, they lost by the finest of margins. And they were all the very sympathetic losers. They always won the fans' hearts and the experts' hearts, but they couldn't really get the result out there. They can actually achieve what they wanted to. And finally, I think this sort of broke that glass ceiling, and maybe they can dream bigger now that they see that it's possible. That's the biggest takeaway for them from the TNS game, I think.
How would you expect Differdange to line up? Like you just mentioned then that even that 2-0 up, they were trying to score more goals. Are we expecting an attacking kind of style?
Uh, that's a tough question. The new manager has definitely been more attacking than his predecessor, but it's three at the back, and their biggest strength is still their solid defense. That's what they are building the game on. They've got a back line with great chemistry between one another. All of them tall, physically imposing players, and the goalkeeper Felipe, his former, I think, Libertadores Cup winner. He's 41 now, but he's got all the experience and he's far and wide the best player in the league. So that's who they rely on, and then the rest of it is just trying to make it work with not giving up everything for like in favor of attacking football, but just trying to strike the right balance. They've signed a target forward now, a classic target man, so they're trying to put more crosses in instead of this slick passing game that went on last season. But yeah, three at the back definitely, and either 3-5-2 or 3-4-3 with a couple of runners off the back of this target man, Samir Hadji. We can also see that they've got a few injured players now. It's not quite panic mode yet, but there's 4 or 5 players on the sidelines, which is not the best sign because Differdange do not have a bloated squad, so they can't really afford to miss all of these players. They're mostly bench players and squad players, and not like the main orchestrators missing. But you still got to worry about what happens if they run out of energy in the last 20 minutes or so, who they can put on then. Apart from that, the starting lineup is pretty much going to be what we've seen in the last couple of games. So it's going to be the exact same names as long as they're available. I suppose there's not a lot of squad rotation going on there.
Okay, what would you say is some of the weaknesses for Differdange?
I think mostly mentally, I would say that some of these players are inexperienced at this level. And even the ones who have had the chance to play, for example, national team football or played on the European stage before, they didn't always have the nerves or to get it done, to play to their best. And that's been the nemesis of Differdange and all of these players in the past, that they just couldn't defeat their demons, on the biggest stages. They are not really taking the pressure too well, if that makes sense. So definitely that. And yeah, they often concede sloppy goals, lapses of concentration, individual errors that you can see at this level, that they have the technical quality, but every now and then they forget about a runner or a marker, and then, problem happens. And so, yeah, these are the little things that they have to try and erase from their game. But this is what always becomes their fate, that just one of these moments happen and the whole game plan goes out the window. So they have to be aware of that.
Do you feel, because I did do a bit of research, I know their first league game's today, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Levadia are, 22, 23 games into their season. Do you feel that has a factor in the game?
It impacts them massively, definitely. I would say it impacts Levadia positively more than vice versa, because they've obviously got a squad that's more or less, cohesive. So they've been playing the same system, preferably the same manager, ideally, and sort of the same players. So there's a lot more cohesion and a lot more. They're in their rhythm, they're in their groove. Whereas Differdange have only just started their season. They've had like 10 new players come in the summer, and about 4 or 5 of them are going to be starters over here as well. They still have to get used to each other's playing style and preferences. It's people often dispute that these teams who are coming to the European qualifiers in the middle of their seasons usually have it better, and they have that bit of advantage. I don't think if it can be showed by the statistics, because I'm not sure that these Nordic teams make Europe, and the Eastern teams make Europe all the more often than the rest. But in theory, yeah, of course, that's one other thing against Differdange, probably.
Is there any players that we should look out for?
There's several. Yeah, I've mentioned Hadji up front. Yeah, he's the striker who scored, I think, the most goals from a Luxembourgish team in Europe. It's like the 3rd or 4th team from Luxembourg that he's playing for at the moment, and he's always reasonable. supplier of goals. Apart from that, there's a new signing, Boris Mfumu on the left. He's a senior Cameroon international at only 20. So I think that was a major coup for Differdange that they managed to recruit him before he chose one of those bigger, more established European leagues. It's definitely going to be a springboard for Mfumu, and we're going to hear from him later. So he already looks like he's a ready-made player. Sometimes his decision making lets him down, but he's got the technical quality. He's got the physical advantage on most of the players that he's up against. His trickery and his confidence is just great to see. It's going to be a pleasure to watch. So, yeah, we can see that he's a raw talent, and he still has to work on how to be a team player and how to make the right decisions, make the right runs, and be a bit more composed in front of goal. But apart from that, he's a gem in the making. So yeah, you should look out for him, definitely.
Yeah, sure. I suppose the final question to ask you is, what do you think the result's going to be?
I'm always afraid to say. But okay, let's see. I want to be cautious. I always am. I always downplay the Luxembourgish team's chances. So I'm gonna say like maybe a one goal defeat for Differdange on aggregate. So yeah, I think Levadia have like a 60-40, like a 60% chance to go through or something like that. They are definitely the favourites in my eyes, at least. How about you? What do you think?
Oh, I don't know. I feel the last game against Iberia, it was tight, and I felt going forward, Levadia didn't look great. I suppose against a team with similar quality, I guess. So, yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. I think it would be tight. Definitely, yeah, definitely will be tight. I'm hoping Levadia. I'm hoping Levadia. I'll go same with you. 1-0 Levadia. Yeah.
We'll see about that then.
Yeah, hopefully. But that's all the questions I have. And so yeah, thank you for coming on. It's just a quick brief preview, I suppose, of who Differdange are and what to expect.
Thanks for the chance. It was a great chat. I enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, yeah. Cheers. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Cheers.